Another brick fan with a Harry Potter set. This is Expecto Patronum. This is set 76414. Was released in June 2023. Has 754 pieces, 2 minifigures, and cost about $70 when it was released. This is one of 9 Harry Potter sets that have been released in June 2023 for the summer wave of Harry Potter. As you can see, this is a large model of a Patronus, kind of in a statue type, in a display type look. I think it turned out really good. Now there are 2 different models here. One is the stag, which is Harry's Patronus, and the other is a wolf, which is Professor Lupin's Patronus. We'll take a look at the wolf here in a little bit. I think the coloring is really good on this, although you can see the Patronuses that were done earlier, and there was an earlier set called Expecto Patronum. I'll go ahead and put a picture of that up here, which was a much different set than this, as you can see. And I did review that, so I'll put a link here for you as well. But as you can see, this really is a good-looking set. I like the stand and the little decoration on it. I like the coloring. In fact, it's almost worth buying 2 of these if you want to display both Patronuses at the same time. Let's take a closer look at the stag himself. First, looking kind of at the stand or the base here, you see that it has a nice printed tile here that says Expecto Patronum, and it's designed kind of as a banner down here, which I thought was a nice touch. There's a bunch of little flowers and different things, all kind of sticking with this pale blue coloring. There are a few of these translucent tiles that kind of have the sparkles in them, which is what the other Patronuses were made out of. So it's nice to see those here in the some pieces of those here in this, as well as some of these kind of plant pieces in this trans blue color, which kind of gives it that ethereal effect. Moving up to look at the stag itself, it has this very big racks, this very big rack that's very nicely done with these horn pieces and some tooth pieces here, as well as some curved technic here. You can see that the face is kind of done with this cover, or this, airplane type cover or spaceship type cover in that trans blue with the freckles in it, or little sparkles in it, and a few of these Nexonite shields as well. So just a pop of those every once in a while. The legs are have full articulation, 3 joints. So they have a hip joint, a knee joint, and an ankle joint here. So you can position the legs all independently of each other. So these look really nice. Give you a lot of flexibility on how you want that done. Now the stand holds a Patronus just above the base here. So it just barely is above it, maybe 1 plate thickness above that. Looks about the same from both sides. There's a little tail here as well, done kind of with a hood piece as well. So overall, I think the way they designed this was really nice. The stand is very sturdy, holds the Patronus quite well, but it is relatively easy to pop off there. It can sort of stand on its own. The Patronus can sort of stand on its own. It's a little weak, but it does stand on its own. So if you wanted to do it without the stand, that can actually be done as well. But now we've taken a quick look at the stag, let's go ahead and take a look at Professor Lupin's Patronus, the wolf. Here is the alternate build for the Patronus. And this is the wolf, which is Professor Lupin's Patronus. You can see he fits on this stand just like Harry does. The stand actually is designed a little bit different, so it's a little lower. Has a little bit different connection points for the wolf, and certainly the foliage and stuff underneath looks a little bit different. I think the shaping of this wolf turned out really nicely. They have the long hind legs here. The front legs actually don't have any joints on them. So there's no hip joint here on the wolf. They just have it does move forward and backward, but it doesn't do the circular motion like you see with the stag we looked at earlier. but there is a ankle and a knee joint here in the back. There's a very substantial tail here. You can see that it's just clipped on the back as well of the wolf. Looking at the face of the wolf here, I really like the way it turned out. There's some trans blue underneath there that give it some kind of evilish eyes there. Very long snout with that little Patronus color piece here in that trans blue with the sparkles in it. You see that plant piece down here on the base. I like the way they did the ears here. They turned out very nicely. That new slope piece is very nice. There's some of these, rock kind of pieces as well. Just gives it a little bit more texture. So this wolf turned out just as well, or maybe even a little bit better. I really like this model. I think it turned out nicely. Now the stag has that wonderful rack on it. The horns, antlers that they put on that stag just turned out really nicely. I love all the articulation on the stag. Now this doesn't have as many articulation points, and as you can see, it's not quite as sturdy as the stag was off of the stand. The way the feet are done doesn't really allow it to stand up, but it will sit. It's just a little bit heavier. It's a little bit too heavy for the way they designed the legs on this. Now, just in a static position, I think it looks really good. The wolf isn't quite as posable as the stag, but it still allows you to position the wolf how you kind of would like it, and it looks really good on this stand. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at our two minifigures now. As I mentioned in the beginning, this set does come with two minifigures. So we have Harry Potter from the 3rd year. So he has the mid legs here. And this is Remus Lupin, or Professor Lupin, was the professor of the dark, he taught Defense Against the Dark Arts in the 3rd year, which was the Prisoner of Azkaban book and movie. This does come with a new wand piece, as you can see here. So I like this wand piece. It does have a stud here, so you can attach different accessories to it. So in this case, they had a satellite dish in this trans blue, since he was casting the Patronus charm, and it has 2 handles on it. So that can be held this way, or it can be held up and down like this. So that is a nice little wand piece. Now it is in a black as opposed to the dark brown, which is what Harry usually uses, but I still think it's a really nice piece. And it's nice to have now some spell elements you can put on their wands. Now you can see Harry is dressed in a blue jacket. He has like these tan or nougat colored pants. A little bit of mud on his jacket. You can still see the scar. So in this, he has this hairpiece they used for the first few years of the different Harry Potter minifigures. So you can still see the scar pretty predominantly through that little part that he has there. Professor Lupin has this very nice brown hair here with a darker gray sweater and then a shirt and tie underneath, and the dark brown pants. He does have some scratches across his face. As you know, he was a werewolf, so he does get injured sometimes when he is in his werewolf form, and that reflects when he comes out of that. Side printing here for Harry with some stripes on his jacket. Just some subtle back printing here. You can see there's some wear here on Lupin's sweater. Obviously, he doesn't have a lot of money, so he struggles to find a job. So he has some dilapidated clothing, I suppose. Harry, again, has this alternate expression with more straight face here. You can still see the scar there. And this is Lupin kind of in a mid-transformation into his werewolf form. So nice alternate expressions for both of these figures as well. Now that we've taken a look at the minifigures, let's go back and I will give you my final thoughts on this set. Coming back to the stag now, this is Harry's Patronus, of course. Like I said in the beginning, I think this is a really good set. Nice models, kind of in the same vein as Hedwig and Fox and the Horntail Dragon, which have been released over the past few years. There is another statue figure that was released this year, which is Dobby the Elf, which actually turned out better than I thought, but This one is really great. I think my only criticism is I would have liked to have seen more trans on it, like this kind of cloudy or sparkly trans blue like the other Patronuses are made out of. There's just a few of those pieces on this. Instead of this pale blue, it would have been really great to have gotten a lot of those pieces in a trans blue color. Now, obviously that would show through some of the structure underneath the Patronus, which might not have been as desirable and probably a lot more expensive, obviously, to recast all of these pieces in that trans blue. But there are some nice pieces here. These kind of larger kind of quarter panels or quarter round panels that have been released over the last couple of years. And then these angled shape pieces. So some newer pieces were used in this construction, which I thought was great. As far as the price goes, this one is one of the few of this wave that does fall under that 10 cent per piece. So 754 pieces for $70, which means the price per piece count is okay. I still feel like this is a little bit expensive. I would have loved to have seen this at a $60 price point. If you've watched my videos, I think Lego is about 20% too high. So if you count for that, this would be about a $55 set is about, I think, where it really fits nicely. That would be a great deal for this particular set. So keep your eye open. Maybe in a few months, you can catch this for 20% off. I'm a collector of the Harry Potter, especially the new series that started about 2018. I've gotten just about all of those. Been fortunate enough to do that, and I think that they're all really great. So I hope you've enjoyed my thoughts on this Harry Potter set. I'm going to get started on my next video. And until then, happy Lego. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe to see more of my content. I've left a link to my Harry Potter review playlist up here on the screen.